Hi and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. This is going to be my latest weekly wrap up. So first up, in February I read Living Dead in Dallas, the second in the Suki Stackhouse series. It's not going to surprise anybody, so I read this for me and Ange from Angie's Book Chatters out of the Coffin Read Along, where we are reading a Suki Stackhouse book every month for the year of 2022, except for June, where we get an extra because there's 13 books in the series. So again, I'm not going to talk too much about it on the channel because we'll do a live show at the end of the month. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who joined us on the live show on my channel for the first book. It was so much fun, and it was something that was just completely out of my comfort zone, like to go live and just chat about my thoughts and opinions completely and utterly unedited and just have them go out there to the world. But it was so incredibly fun, and it's cool to do it with Ange because we geek out about books all the time anyway, and it was fun to have as many people jump into the comments and watch along with us as we did. So thank you so much to everybody who came, who commented and chatted about the book. We are going to be doing it on Angie's channel next month, so we'll just be doing it month about. The book was a 5-star for me. It was great. That's all I'm really going to say, because I'll save all my thoughts and opinions for the live show at the end of the month. After I finished Suki, I felt like I was needing a wee horror hit, and so I read Night Shoot by David Sodergren. This book was so amazing. So David Sodergren is a Scottish author. If you are new to the channel, you maybe haven't seen, but I read his book Maggie's Grave last year, and it is one of my favourite books of 2021, and this could be up there with one of my favourite books of 2022. He did not disappoint. I loved Maggie's Grave so much that after I read it, I added every single David Sodergren book to my wish list, and I was lucky enough to get a couple for Christmas, and I couldn't wait to pick one up. So this is the first one I decided to read. It is set in Scotland and is about a group of college students who are making a horror film, and they are making a horror film in the director's really old family manor, and there's like a really creepy uncle who has told them that they only have a day, and if they haven't finished filming it in a day, then tough. They are rebellious and decide that a day is not enough in order to shoot the film, after coming up with a couple of problems and facing those. So they decide that they are going to break into the manor at night to finish filming it, and all manner of horror, spooky scariness is unleashed, and it was brilliant. It was such a great time. It is everything that I look for in a horror novel, and I said exactly the same thing about Maggie's Grave, but it's just what I need. The characters were realistic, and their reactions to things that were happening to them were very realistic to me. They are things that I could imagine doing and saying in those circumstances. I know you need to, you know, sort of just believe in it a little bit for it to feel realistic, but that sometimes it can be so over dramatised. Is that the word? Dramatised? It's overly dramatic that it makes it feel unbelievable. And that's not the case with David's writing at all. It is completely believable down to the characters' reactions and their choice of phrases, which is just brilliant for me. It was really funny in parts, and again, that's something that I really enjoy. I am a huge 80s horror fan, and so that was all, you know, about fake blood and guts. It was a bit campy, it was a bit tongue-in-cheek at times. I don't know why I can't talk today, but I cannot. And that's what I love to see in my horror novels as well, and this absolutely was. It was fantastic, and again, like with Maggie's Grave, actually made me a wee bit emotional at points, and it's no often a horror book does that to me, so it just goes to show how amazing David Sodergren's writing really is. The characters in this book were great. You hated some of them, you loved some of the others, and you find yourself getting really attached, but in a really subtle way. Like, I did not know, like, I knew I really liked the main character, and she was badass, she was so spot on, like, so opinionated, stands her ground, we love to see it. But I didn't know how much I loved her until the end of the book. And see, after I finished this book, I actually just sat for a wee minute with like a big lump in my throat, like, wow, what an ending. And like, me and Simon had to rush out afterwards because we were going to a family event, and I was like, I just need a minute. Like, I found myself getting really emotional about it. I didn't realise that I had grown so attached, but I really had. And it is cheesy and it is quirky. It was just a great freaking time. Like, it was just so amazing, and it was great. I couldn't have asked for anything more from this book, like, other than for David Sodergren to come round and make me a cup of tea while I read it. Like, it was amazing. It was a 5-star. It was a 5-star. It was fantastic. I have another David Sodergren on my shelf right now, and like, it's a struggle to know just pick it up right now and read it, because he's never let me down so far. Definitely becoming one of my favourite horror writers, let me tell you. It was just chef's kiss good. It was so phenomenal. If you like horror, read this. If you like Maggie's Grave, read this. If you like cheesy 80s horror films, read this. It was just phenomenal. Like, I don't know what else to say. And then, as part of my I seriously need to finish this goal, I read The Monarchs by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. So this is the sequel to The Ravens. I read The Ravens last year and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is about a sorority in America. Well, obviously, because I don't think they have sororities anywhere else, but anyway, and they aren't just sorority girls, but they are all in fact witches, and it's dual perspective. We have the perspective of Vivi, who is a new pledge to this sorority, and from Scarlett, who has grown up and her family are like all in this sorority. They are sorority royalty. Is that a thing? I don't remember the term, but anyway, she's grown up in it, and she's vying to be president, basically, is what happens in the first book, along with a whole host of hijinks and obstacles and challenges and murder and culty stuff. It was great. I rated The Ravens a 5-star. It was phenomenal and it was a great time. The Monarchs was less of a great time. I was so disappointed. This is one of my most anticipated releases for 2022, so really upset that it didn't live up to the hype. So there's a few things wrong with this book for me. Let me get tea first. I need to spill the tea while I drink tea. So, without spoiling anything, in case you haven't read the first book, but there's like quite a traumatic event that happens at the end of the first book. So going into the second book, I was absolutely expecting the girls to be reeling from that and to be finding out a wee bit more about how they are dealing with it. So for their characters to have changed a bit, I would have completely understood, because they've just went through this big traumatic event. But I don't buy into just how much these characters had changed. It felt like I was reading about two completely different girls, and I really loved both of the characters and I really enjoyed reading from both of their perspectives in the first book. And I didn't really like either of them in this book. They were just like completely different girls. The choices that they were making and the things that they were choosing to care about or not care about. It just didn't feel very them, and so it felt less authentic, because I just felt like the characters had completely changed and I didn't have the same connection to them as I did in the first book. By the end of the first book, when things were happening, like, I could get into their heads and I could imagine what they were thinking and how they were feeling, and I just couldn't do that with this book, because like I say, like, their priorities and their thoughts were completely out of whack. So that was really disappointing. And I feel like for the first 3/4 of this book, nothing really happens. Well, stuff happens, but the girls just don't really pick up on it, and they don't really deal with it, which was a bit frustrating to me as a reader, because I pegged what was happening like so early on, like maybe first quarter of the way through the book. I was like I know what's happening here, so like, why do these two really successful, really intelligent women, witches, also click onto what was happening? Like, I was like, come on, like, why are you not seeing the signs here? Are yous dafties? Which just frustrated me. And then the last quarter of the book, it is all like going at 100 miles an hour. We know exactly what's happening, you know, with a plan to resolve it. Shit is going down, and then it's just done. Like, it just finishes, and it finishes in a really convenient way. Everybody just somehow magically gets their happy ending. Like, and I know that it's a book about witches, so like, magic and a happy ending, fine, but it wasn't the witches who magicked the happy ending, it was both the writers, because they just lazily like tied it all up in a wee convenient bow, so that at the end we got that emotional pull, and we thought, oh, that was so lovely, that we thought, what a brilliant book. I see through it, guys. Like, I see through it. The book was terrible. Like, you rehashed a lot of the tension for the first book and tried to make it work for a second time. It didn't work. You ruined all sorts of character development and character relationships. One of the things that I loved about the first book was Vivi and Scarlett's relationship, and they were just like women supporting women, and when the other person was making a choice, they were like, yes, more power to you, and they were just supporting them, and there was none of this like bitchy jealousness, there was none of like the competitiveness that sometimes comes when authors are writing about women. I was going to say teenage girls, but it's actually no teenage girls, it's women in general, and that just wasn't there in the first book at all, which made me be like, I stan this so much. And then in this book it was just like bitchy up the wazoo, and that relationship was destroyed for me by the way that the girls were treating each other, and I'm so disappointed. And not even just how they were treating each other, but how the other girls in the sorority were treating each other as well. Like, I just am here for the bitchiness. Women can have relationships and they can support other women without needing to be catty and snide. Like, it happens every day. For real, I know, it's a joke. So that just, it really pulled it down for me. I really shipped one of the relationships in the first book as well, which, like, we know for me takes something, and then again they just ruined that relationship for me in this second book. In fact, I'd go as far as to say I shipped both of the main romances in the first book to an extent, and they ruined both of them in this book, and then just tried to like make it better at the end, and I was like, nah lads, like, I am not here for this. I am not here for that. So it was really disappointing, and I'm pretty pissed off about it. And I rated it a 2-star. So quite a mixed bag reading wise, but I guess I'll take a 2-star. To get to 5 stars, it was just disappointing because I was so looking forward to that book. I hate when an author disappoints me. It's fine though, like, we'll get by. So that is everything that I have been reading Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already subscribed for more reading and rants, probably. Catch you in the next one. Bye!